All right, so for once, we had some breaking news come out before the show was recorded. Thank you, journalism gods. For once, it actually worked out. Sovereignty had a spiked fever earlier this morning, recording this on Tuesday evening, and apparently he came out of his work with a little bit of a temp. They're treating him. Supposedly the temp is down to normal. Bill Mott said he's eating up, which is good, but he also said that if the temperature goes back up, quote, it's over.
Right.
And they're not going to run in the Classic. And this is an incredibly important race for him, I think, because of how deep the 3-year-old division is this year. Like 99% of the time, his resume gets you the championship. It just does. And it probably still will. But if he doesn't run and then journalism wins the Classic or even runs second, then you got a little debate on your hands. So we hope he can run.
Right.
And I just think that, and this is, to me, at the morning line, he was the biggest underlay of the entire weekend.
Really?
And at 6-5 in that renewal of the Classic, and many people are saying, but in this case, seriously, many people are saying, including me, not just me, that this is one of the best Classic fields ever assembled. Like Sierra Leone is 8-1.
Yeah.
Journalism is 10-1. I don't think so. I think those horses are going to take a lot more money than that. I think Sovereignty, if he runs, will probably land like 9-5, 2-1, something in that range. 6-5, John. Like, I know he's been crazy impressive. He's won all the big races, but this is a deep group.
No, Joe, I think that, like, other than contrary thinking, that Wascoey Wabbit, you can't make it. I mean, you would say there's no throwouts in the race. We can go through it kind of line item by line item, but even Nevada Beach, who is 20-1 in the race, all he's done is win 3 out of 4, finish second in another race. And he won a grade 1 against older horses last time out in California, doesn't have to ship. So, I mean, is he a horse that I would say put your mortgage on? No. Is he a horse that I would like put in a 3-horse exacta box? Probably not either. But I think you can make a case that maybe he deserves to be in there. I certainly think that he deserves to be in there more than contrary thinking. And, there is this ongoing debate now on the Twitter sphere about whether or not they should allow the horse to even run. Listen, if you got $150,000 and you want to go ahead and put it in entry fees for your horse to run, theoretically, if there's not a full field, you can run. I mean, they have the right to say, we're not going to accept this entry, but would you really do that to Peter Brandt and Chad Brown at this stage of the game? I don't think you would say you can't do that, especially because probably the Coolmore guys are also pushing for that horse to be in there to set it up for your favorite horse, Joe, Sierra Leone.
I mean, I thought he was a completely tripped out Classic winner last year, but I'd be crazy to say he couldn't win this race, especially with the rabbit in it. Antiquarian is very, very interesting. A horse who like his sire, Preservationist, just keeps getting better and better. And that's like that arch line. Those horses just get better as they get older. Forever Young, like he runs the race he ran in the Saudi Cup. Like you could argue he's the horse to beat.
I love him in this race. I love him in this race.
I mean, he's done it like over here. Like he ran a huge third last year. Like Fierceness, I think with reason got most of the attention with the race he ran in the Classic with the pace. But Forever Young was right there. He was a length and a half off of that sizzling pace, and he stuck it out and was in there for third. So I mean, this is just whoever wins this race is going to be a deserving older male champion. And like most of the time, it doesn't come down to this race. No. And sometimes when it does, it's like, oh God, it's because everybody sucks and nobody's actually stringing any big races together. This time it's because so many horses have a good case.
Right.
And this is where the dust will settle.
Yep. And I think that's going to be nice also, Joe, is I'm predicting that regardless of how this race turns out, a lot of them are going to come back for the Pegasus in January before they go off and stop racing and go on to the breeding shed. I know from hearing rumors and innuendos that a lot of these horses that are going to be standing stud next year have in their contract that they are allowed to run in the Pegasus, and that there's a kicker schedule if they do win the Pegasus. So there's a lot of farms. Farms have kind of changed their tune on wanting horses to come in the day after the Breeders' Cup so they can go show off and start selling seasons. Now it's almost expected that they're going to run in the Pegasus, for the big money and then retire at that point. So I'm be curious to see. This might be round one of two. Coming in that we're going to see the second half in January. But, I personally, again, I'm not the handicapper of the two of us. I'm not the handicapper of a lot of people. But for me, I really like Baeza. I think he's going in the right direction. I really like Forever Young. Sovereignty, we'll see with his temperature, how everything turns out. But Mindframe, I think, is a really interesting horse also for a lot of reasons, but none more so than the fact that, Larry Johnson, who is the breeder of the horse, passed away earlier in the year. And that the racing gods love to honor and recognize people once they've passed, stallions, mares, and people in the industry. And it's just got that feel to it where everyone's looking inside, talking about fierceness. Everyone's looking at the 3-year-olds and on the champion and have they been going nip and tuck against each other. And this is going to, kind of sort out all the 3-year-olds for the championship. And then you got Mindframe that not a lot of people are talking about right now. And all he's done is won 7 of 8 races. And, oh, by the way, the one race he didn't win, he lost his rider, shortly after coming out of the gate. I really feel like that he's a horse that is, going to be of great interest in this race. And also once he stands stud, at Claiborne Farm soon after, I'm assuming soon after the Pegasus.
He's been first or second 7 out of 8. He's got 5 wins.
What did I say?
You said 7 out of 8.
Oh, I'm sorry. First or second 7 out of 8. Yeah.
No, very, very good resume either way. To me, he's hit, whether or not I use him, at least within the race, it's going to be entirely price dependent because I think he could be anywhere from 5 to 1 to 15 to 1. And that's just, if he's 5 to 1, I'm not that interested. Because I don't think he's at that level, that like top tier. He's very close. So if he's like 12 to 1 or so, then I'm more interested because, if he had won the Jockey Club Gold Cup, hadn't gotten knocked off the horse, then you're looking at a horse who's going to be like 7 to 2 in here. So you draw a line through that. If you get double digits, then I'd be more interested. I think Fierceness, to me, he ran the most impressive race of all of the older male horses this year in the Pacific Classic. I was there. Right. We were in the race with Indispensable, and the way he veered in early on in that race, I was like, what I said to myself in my head, because we were a long shot, but what I said to myself in my head, I was like, okay, well, that's one less favorite we have to beat. Because, how often do you see horses take left turns in that race and then make an early move to the lead like he did? Right. He took the lead, going into the far turn and just never stopped, even though journalism was coming with a pretty good run after him. Yep. He drew well. I think the lesson has been learned a little bit from last year where they had to be aggressive and they just got caught up a little too quick of a pace. I think he's able to sit in here. I don't think the difference should be 4 to 1 and 6 to 5 between him and Sovereignty. And I do hope Sovereignty runs, not just because I want to bet against him, but because he's had a phenomenal year and he deserves that chance to officially stamp his championship in the Classic. So I really, really hope that he gets to run. But this is it's a murderer's row, honestly, really relative to the horse, the older handicap. Because I know somebody's going to chime in and be like, "Well, Dr. Fager won 90 races," and it's relative to today's horses, this is as good as it gets for a Breeders' Cup Classic. So we should enjoy it. John, anything else? Unless you welcome to jump on that as well. But anything else from the rest of the Saturday card other than the distaff that catches your eye?
Yeah, I thought the mile came up an interesting race also. And I think the race goes through Bob Baffert. I think that between Goal Oriented and Nisos, although there was a video of Nisos, breezing this morning and people were all over about the fact, is he sore? Is he ready for this race? Just don't worry about it. He'll be ready come game day. But I thought those two are interesting. Mystic Dan in that race, I think, is interesting. Citizen Bowl, last year's 2-year-old champ, is in that race. Chancellor McPatrick, also a great horse that's going to be, retired at the end of the year. And then I thought, Joe, that the horse Touch of Destiny, the horse coming in from Uruguay, I thought was really interesting because he's an 6-for-6 undefeated midshipman who is one of the most underrated dollar for dollar, pound for pound best horses, stallions in the country here in the States. And, they're asking the horse to go from Uruguay to the United States. That's difficult. From 7/8 to a mile to going a mile to going a mile against these kind of sprinters, that have this kind of speed, I should say, is a big deal. And oh, by the way, he's 9 of 10 also in this race. So things are really stacked up against him. I'm going to be curious on the eye test to see Touch of Destiny and see what he looks like. And then, oh, by the way, White Barrio, where all he's done is won 10 of 24 and $7 million to his name as well. So another, I think, top to bottom, pretty stacked field. Not like the Classic, don't get me wrong. But this turned out to be a really good mile race as well, in my estimation.
Yeah, and I'm totally against Nysos in there at 8-5. He's just like, he had too many starts and stops for me this summer after the San Diego.
Right.
Just coming in off of only that race since July. I just, at 8-5, I'll try to beat him. 2 other races I have to mention.
Yeah.
And one is another one that we're participating in the Philly and Mare Sprint. Vava is in there. She's been just a queen for West Point and for Belladonna and all the partners. Over $2 million earned from a $280,000 Keeneland September buy. She's won 7 times. She's been in the money 15 out of 19 times in her career. Her form has not been great this year.
Mm-mm.
Just, ever since like the Ballerina last year when she was 3rd as the favorite, she didn't do any running in this race last year. It worries me a little bit that it's at the same track. Looked like she was getting it together when she won the Chicago earlier over the summer, but just hasn't really built on that. Yeah. Nevertheless, she has had an awesome career and she's selling in November. So it'd be great to see her go out on a winning note, or at least to hit the board, because I think she's deserving of at least a placing in a race like this. And we'll be rooting our tails off for her. And then I also wanted to talk about the sprint, which I think came up very, very strong. This is the favorite in this race is a horse that I had his epic performance of the week about a month ago, Ben Tornado, valiant minister, Florida bred, who is coming off the huge run in the Louisville Thoroughbred Society of Churchill, 108 buyer. And to me, he's the horse to beat. He's drawn outside. It's interesting. I think it looks like all the speed of the speed is going to be outside. Like in Ben Tornado, straight no chaser, last year's winner is back in this time. And then there's a shipper from Canterbury, Madhouse, who's probably going to be part of the pace as well. There's not a ton of speed in this race. There's a couple horses that interest me. Copion, I think, is very interesting at the rail. She's not going to be a huge price, but Richard Mandela is just one of the best Breeders' Cup trainers there is. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, this is a horse who's always wanted to go one turn, and her better races have been one turn. Can't blame him for taking a shot in the Clement Hirsch last time, but I thought she just flattened out a little bit late in that race. This is her ball game. She's drawn at the rail. Mike Smith gets aboard, one of the best big money riders in the history of horse racing. So I like her a lot. And then the other Mandela horse I'm very interested in, and that's Big City Lights. The 5 was 15-1 morning line. This is a horse that, and a lot of times I look for intent with trainers and the spots that they pick and when and potentially why. This is a horse that is a Calbred monster, 7 for 13 lifetime, won his last 2 races in Calbred stakes by a combined 16 1/4 lengths. There are plenty of Calbred races for Richard Mandela to run in now in December, over their winter at Santa Anita. This is a horse who has been very, very talented, but has had a lot of spaced out campaigns. So I think he's saying, listen, this horse is training his eyeballs out. You see the 58 flat half-mile bullet earlier this week at Santa Anita. He's saying, listen, this is a horse that we're going to get 1 or 2 races out of before he's going to have to go to the shelf. This is as good as he's ever been as a 6-year-old. We're taking a crack in the big race, and he's a versatile horse. Big City Lights is a very, very interesting long shot for me on Saturday, John.